Okay. Um, Welcome everybody to tonight's stream. We're just going to be doing some testing, um, trying to find a setup for tomorrow's race, 3 hours of CB. We're going to be doing it in the McLaren. In the McLaren. That is right. In the McLaren. So, a couple of things I've been hearing on certain stream. I just want to clarify something first. Guys, the GD Sprint series, just it's a lightly wet track. I'm hearing some very disturbing, inaccurate information. Um, it's a lightly wet track. There's no rain. It's not a rain is rain. Rain is when there's actual water falling from the sky, not when the track is lightly wet with no rain. Firstly. Secondly, with the right skill set, and I'm sorry for using the word skill set, and the right setup, you can set a dry setup to run both in dry and wet conditions. Doesn't have, just because the track is lightly wet doesn't mean you have to run a wet setup, because doesn't mean it's going to be faster, especially if it's not going to rain any further. So if there's no further rain, there's no reason to run a wet setup. Another thing, if you haven't had any practice in the wet, I should have maybe jumped onto a GD wet server just to kind of illustrate what I was talking about. But go to weather, track is dry, there's no rain, nothing, zip. Therefore, you can run a dry setup, dry tires. Now, if there's no rain coming, but it's just lightly wet, well, you can't run dry tires at all. Not even if you're already on track, because that's the turning point. Is very light, wet conditions. You can run dry tires out the pits, or if you are on dries, if it's gone from dry to very lightly wet, you can stay on dries until it switches to lightly wet. Then you can get off the dry tires and go over to wets. Now, usually in endurance races, you've got your spotters, your teammates can see this information. You can ask them for it. You can also, there are other key elements that you can look for in the race. I'm just going to do this because there are certain things one doesn't want to show when it comes to setups, especially when it's team setups and it's especially paid setups. Let's just leave it there. Anyway, what I was getting at was you can run a dry setup in lightly wet road conditions. Um, and vice versa. Um, I don't personally, I don't run a wet setup, primarily wet setup at all. Even in endurance races, because if the weather's going to be changing, a completely wet setup is going to be slow in the dry. And vice versa. However, if the dry setup has been tweaked to accommodate wet conditions, that's a different story. We used to call those hybrid setups. Um, we used to call a setup that runs both in the dry and in the wet. The idea is usually be faster in the dry, but still safe enough in the wet. It's usually got a couple of changes done to it. Wing is one of them. Things like brake bias and traction control you can change yourself as a driver in most sims. ABS traction control, brake bias, that's driver preference. That's outside of the parameters. So we're talking toe, wing, camber, all of those sort of things, ride out adjustments. The other thing is, if you're in a race and a car bends it and you're going to hesitate with being able to get past him, you're just creating a potential secondary accident. Get past and move on. Don't slow down, let him go, and just because you don't know, is he carrying damage? You could then, you, out of the goodness of your heart, think, okay, cool, you're gonna let him go, and he's actually got damage. Now, a couple of things, he either slows you down, or you get into another fast section, ends up spinning in front of you, takes you out, and then you want to blame him, but a lot of the time it's actually your fault. So for example, if someone's binned it in the last corner, and I'm coming into the last corner, yes, I'm not going to come flying through the last corner. Say he's on the exit of the last corner and he's going pitch speed, I'm not going to slow down and let him go, I'm going to just go fast, regardless of the weather condition. Because you sitting in his blind spot is actually worse off for both of you, especially in wet conditions. If you don't have the skill set, and I don't mean this in a funny manner, then my advice is practice in the wet. Because if you're going to drive slowly in the wet, your tire temperatures do not go to get up to 10. Therefore, you don't have grip. Your tires still need to be in operating, what they call operating window, which both is pressure and temperatures. The same as in the dry. If your tires are too cold in the dry, you're not going to have any grip. If they're too hot in the dry, they're overheating, you lose traction. You don't have any grip. Same in the wet. If you're running wet tires in the wet, they still need. Oh, I just missed my brake marker there. You still need the tires to get up to temperature. And the pressures to increase, because cold wet tires, even in the wet, do not go. They don't work. It's just not physics works. Common sense and understanding. Now, a couple of things change. Being able to adapt to driving in the wet, increase your brake marker. You don't necessarily have to brake harder or softer. And I mean, I'm running ABS 4.9 the drive. I'll probably on very lightly wet or lightly wet, I'll probably maybe go up 1 click depending on the track. Maybe 2 clicks max on the ABS tracking. Not really focusing on that times at the moment, to be honest. More just chit-chatting and hopefully the sun is better now. It's all about learning the car. Jumping from one car to another car. If you're doing it to figure out what suits your driving style best, then great, 100%. And then do it that way. But once you've set on a car, don't just chop and change thinking you're gonna go quicker if you change your car. Or you think the car is slow, the car is not necessarily slow, and I'm not talking about BOP, guys. I'm just talking in general. You change the car and you find you're doing the same lap times in a different car. Once you've gotten used to it. That's not the car, that's just your skill. Unfortunately, it's a skill issue. Racecraft. How do you improve that? Well, there's a couple of ways. Well, 1 or 2 ways. First one, depending again if you're new to sim racing, I wouldn't really recommend it too much. But drive as fast as you can, forget about how many off tracks you get and then dial it back. But I'd worry about that once you understand the car first. You understand the understeer, the oversteer, what the car is doing under braking. Like there, it's slipping, but it's fine. I anticipated the slip, so I had a bit of counter steering tuned in. Learning to trail brake. There are many videos on YouTube on braking techniques. How to trail brake. Different lines into corners, into hairpins. You need to understand how the car's balancing is affected. And what happens when you're on the brakes and you're trailing off the brakes. How is the weight of the car distributed into the corner. There's also videos on utilizing 100% of the grip from the tire. Now, the tire is designed to give you 100% of one thing, not 100% of multiple things. There's actually a video about that. And I use this for my training when I was running. I had an Academy Open and I was running A couple of friends and I, we started a team. Nothing too serious. We won a couple of championships, came second, different sims, but there's tutorials on how to get 100% of the tire. So when you're braking and turning, you're not getting 100% performance out of the tire. You have to do one or the other. Because while you're braking, that's fine, but if you're off the brakes and turning in, that's fine. So at what limit can you push the tires is the important thing. When you're on the power like this, you're using tires 100% for turning, you're using them again, yeah, it's braking and turning, so you're not getting 100% of the tire on one application. It's being split between turning and trail braking, and then back on the power. Now, you're not always on, it's not very advisable to turn in, stamp on the power, because look what happens. Guys, just understand, because it can't get the grip. There's just no grip, so the car just pushes understeer through the corner. But I'll show you with this one, if I gradually apply the throttle, gradually, I'm not understeering, I've got the grip to accelerate through the corner. It's a bit hard on the throttle there. I think there's also a bit debris. Not chasing lap times here, just really feeling the car set up. Actually quite tired, to be honest. We did a couple of races earlier on that were pretty close races. Around Sebring. And they were fun. We managed to get top 5. We got a P5 and a P8, a P7 and P5 in the fixed races. I'm a bit full at the moment. I had some bacon and noodles for supper. Like a bacon pasta. Oh, I didn't kill enough speed there. Okay, let's see if we can put a decent lap in. I'm busy talking nonsense. Not focusing on my braking markers. Oh, is a car coming out the pits? Has he seen me? Yeah, he did. Try to give him as much room as possible. That was smooth. A lot of the time, smooth is fast, guys. Well, smooth is fast. Sometimes when it feels like you're actually going slower, but in essence, what's happening is You're smoothing out your inputs. So you're not doing that on the exit of corners. But in actual fact, you're keeping the balance of the car and the inertia of the car stable. And you've got traction and you've got grip in corners and on exits. And you start finding the rhythm and feeling what the car is doing. It's difficult in a sim because you can't feel what it's doing underneath you. Not even with pedals where you feel the ABS kicking in. Because to get ABS to activate in a real car, you literally really have to stand on the brakes. The idea is not to activate ABS, or if you do very little as possible, especially in a GT3 car, where you want to try and use as much momentum through the corner as possible. The slower corners is more mechanical grip than aero, not like an LMP2 or LMP3 or GDP, where the faster you through the corner, the more you can rely on the aerodynamics. But you do got to rely on the aero in a GT3 to a certain degree. As you're getting pushed by this guy behind while we're busy talking nonsense. I mean nonsense as in non-truth, I just mean as we're just chilling talking. I'm not trying to push my fastest laps or break any lap records, yeah. But this is some... Now he could technically be faster, or we might just be on similar pace and I'm just not hitting my optimal pace here yet. But it's good race practice, good racecraft practice. As long as you don't do anything unpredictable, you'll avoid an accident. It's a good way to practice getting pressurized by a car behind you. I know he's there. But I'm not going to let him distract me. Just got a better run here. Got to know when you've got to give it up. We gave it up a little bit too much though. Because I broke too much momentum there. He had my slipstream. Interesting. As the week's gone in later, so you start seeing more Vets and Acuras, and in the beginning of the week it was mainly McLaren, Mustang and Porsche. Oof, horrible. What's happening there? They're just dancing around for no reason. And that's why I'm testing the setup to feel what it does like and what it doesn't like. Definitely doesn't like to be straddled like that. Okay. Just a little bit fatigued, really, to be honest. To want to go and try and throw in the fastest laps around here at the moment. We're about 2 seconds off our pace, really. to be fair. It's like I'm doing a Sunday cruise around the track. I just don't have the energy really to try and match my laps from earlier. Oh, wheels. Sweat and palms on my hands. It's actually quite humid here tonight, to be honest. Almost tired. Can we catch this bit? It's seem to be slipping on acceleration now. Tire temps are fine, pressures are fine, we're just maybe just over driving, pushing the car a little bit too much. Dial it back a bit, I guess. Something I like to practice as well, and I spoke about it in last week Friday's stream, is practice off racing lines, so you know how the car handles. Like it, oh, it's a massive understeer, like I did in the final corner now. So like create little scenarios in your own mind and just drive a different line. That's what these practice times are for, is just getting to grips with the car, feeling what it feels like, both on racing line, off racing line. So in the race, if something happens, you know exactly what to expect. Try different things. It's the worst thing that's gonna happen. You're gonna crash. Well, as long as you learn, it's a better exit. A bit loose, but it was better. See, we got enough energy to do a 2.5. Earlier we were just about broke into the 201s, got into the 201s. I'll talk about this, especially in endurance racing, this 85-90 ratio. And what I mean by that is, if you're in a rhythm at 85 to 88%, and your lap times are competitive, then you can offer a bit more, especially in your earlier stints, early time stints, when you're fresh. Versus later on in the endurance race, if you're doing a 12 hour, 24 hour, well, mainly 24 hours, when I'm usually up for at least 20 of the 24 hours. You get this fatigue that comes in. So I can give 90% without an issue in the beginning. So I start the race, I'm doing the first 2 stints or whatever. I come in stint 3 or 4. But in my first 2 stints, I'm able to give consistently 90-95%. I can push if I really need to. But I've still got about an extra 2 or 3%, so I could go to 98%. But I tend to prefer to race in the 85 to 90% window. And the reason for that is, if I need to at any point in time try and put my foot down, I can. But as the race goes on and you start doing your second and your third and fourth stints, you are more tired. You've been up most of the day and you're just physically drained, mentally drained. Then you want to be at your 85%, 85%. Now, that doesn't mean you drive slower, it just means you take your risks. If there's another team behind you and the driver they got in their car at the moment is faster than you, don't fight them, let them go. You'll come back and fight that fight later on in the race as a team. And by doing that, your results are better, because it doesn't help I've been up, say 6 hours, 7 hours, I've been playing, I've been spotter, crew chief, actively still involved, your mind's still constantly on the race. Just because you haven't been physically driving the car doesn't mean that your brain's not tired. Mentally you're not drained. Now again, this is where I don't use westernized medicine for this, because I got my own opinion about that. If you need to use supplements, well, the problem I have with that is you crash. You physically, because you can get the same results, and coming from a professional golfing background, where we used to play 2 rounds of golf a day for 2 days straight. You learn about nutrition and keeping yourself hydrated. I'm not completely hydrated at the moment. I'm a bit naughty. But I'm hydrated, but I'm not. Again, it's like 9 o'clock at night, yeah, and been awake all day and working, and you know, been racing early on. Is snacking, and what to snack on and what not to snack. Well, you're gonna go for something that's too high in carbs, you're gonna get carb crash. It's not gonna be effective. But if you snack on things like bananas, you're keeping yourself hydrated with water, you have a good breakfast before the race, Something high protein. Yeah. Got to keep fuel in your body. Not just take a pill and think that's gonna be the only thing you need to do, because it's not. Even though I am as tired as what I am, I could technically still, if I was in a situation where I had to do a 2-hour stint, I couldn't do a 2-hour stint. I've eaten supper. I've got water next to me. I could comfortably, if I really wanted to or needed to, I could. Hey, that actually works. I'm still comfortably eating my apexes. The thing is, don't force lap times. If this is all you can give at like an endurance race, and you're listening to your body, then that's all you can do. Cause you're keeping the car clean. You're not killing the guy behind you. You're staying predictable. You're hitting your marks. Now, I know he's quicker than me at the moment. He's probably quicker than me in general. Go through, mate. That's all you do, even in a racing scenario. Let him go. Now there, you saw him wiggle. He wasn't swerving to distract me, he was saying thank you. No problem, Thomas. All good, mate. It was a bit of a mistake by me. That fatigue. A slight fatigue. Kind of a little in the zone. Sometimes you just got to have some cars around you and it kind of wakes you up. Gives you that second wind and you're fine. You're sharp to go. I seem to be in a sandwich here. I'm not exactly doing the fastest laps around here at the moment. And definitely not my fastest laps by any means. I'm literally just plugging along. Go through.
I don't know what happened there. What happened there, Christos? I don't know if you ran out of fuel. That was a bit weird. Been running these set of tires now for half an hour, 16 laps, 35 minutes, almost 40 minutes. Still 11 laps to go, so... Oh, missed my marker. Got a bit target fixated. Oh my god. He's dead. Wasn't me, I didn't do anything, I was nowhere near him. SCS station, is that you in the McLaren behind me? We've got SCS station behind us. We used to race against each other, with each other. In ACC and in our racing. AC, I'm half awake, dude, so when you get close, I'll let you through. Hence I said to him when he gets closer. Unless I'm going to slow down for him to get closer. I wonder if AC's streaming. He probably is. It's like he's in a stang. Shout out to the chat if you're streaming, AC. Come through, AC. I think that's about it, guys. I'm done with a bit of practice. So, yeah, sorry, there was a bit of fun with Lucia stays in there. She's actually also from South Africa, but I guess she didn't have his push to talk on. And I think he's left it, yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Those that have watched, thank you. I'm just tired. I'm exhausted. So I'm happy with the car setup, the balance of the car, and everything like that. See, it wasn't lying. There's the water. As well, you know, it's almost finished the whole glass in 2 sips. That's not how to get back to being hydrated. Sipping on water, Energade, um, you know, things like peanuts, snacking on certain foods you can use to keep yourself nutritious, keep your mind focused, get up and walk around, get some fresh air. You don't need to be on any supplements in order for you to keep your mind clear throughout an endurance race. Done it plenty of times, with and without snacks. It's training really. And again, I think that's come from in my professional golfing background. Being able to play 2-3 days at a time, 2 rounds a day. So I think from a physique perspective, from a mental capacity, it's mentally taxing. So endurance racing, you are in a team, your roles are split, but when you are calculating what other teams are doing, strategies, being able to adjust the strategy on the fly, recalculate certain aspects. You constantly are thinking about what's happening next, what could happen, what could you plan to strengthen your position. So yeah, even though you're not in the car, you are still playing a functional role. And that's a big factor. But that's about enough of that. I think I'm gonna start heading to bed. I'm half awake. I wasn't even joking when I said that to Issy on your stream. So I was never gonna go and put in consistent 202s, or 201 for that matter. I just don't have the capacity to do that right now. But we'll see you fresh tomorrow morning from 10 o'clock in the morning. We'll be live 10:30. I think service starts at 11 a.m. So we'll be live from about 10:30, quarter to 11 tomorrow morning. Enjoy, you guys. Have a good evening, and thanks again for watching. Please come join us tomorrow. Solo 3 hours of Sebring. Luckily, there's no rain. Yes. Cheers, guys. Bye.